G'day, welcome back to Down the Shed with Byron. Today we're changing the thermostat out on our old GQ Patrol and we're upgrading it at the same time. Now on the other GQ Patrol we've done the same mod and it goes really well. And I've got a old thermostat housing here to show you probably the reasons why. So here I have the three thermostats that the TD42s normally run. Factory, which opens at 76.5 degrees. A Titan high flow, that opens at, from memory, 77. And this is the upgrade, which is a Dayco DT79A, which opens at 82 degrees. So just a comparison next to each other. Here we have the thermostat housing, either the main housing and the upper housing is what I'd probably call them. Where your thermostat just lives in here. Factory one locates. Now you can see when the thermostat opens, it's about 10 mil before it shuts off the bypass. Now that bypass allows the engine to warm up. There you go, you can see the bypass there. Allows the engine to warm up by circulating the coolant, and once it reaches temperature, that thermostat opens, which comes down, shuts off the bypass, and allows coolant to go through the top hose and to be cooled. Now with the aftermarket thermostat, fits in nicely. You can see it's basically almost shutting off that bypass, which allows the engine to warm up, or what I've found, warm up quicker, and it forces the coolant straight through the radiator without any dramas. What's happening is the engine's slowly warming up, that thermostat's dropping down on top of the bypass to block it and allowing coolant to flow through the radiator. So that's where you get that instant cooling effect of the engine. And once it gets to 82 degrees, it's fully open to allow full flow of the coolant. And with this mod, I've got it on my other Patrol. What I've found is just running around town, and obviously this depends on the setup you've got. In the 60 to 80 kilometre areas, I normally sit on about 76, 77 degrees to maybe 78, cruising around town. Once I hit the highways, doing anything from 100 to 110, it might jump up to 82 to 85 degrees. And then once you've got a load on, e.g. the car trailer with your car on the back of it, it will jump up to about the 90s. In my scenario, I've got rock sliders, bull bar, dual tyre carrier, bigger wheels, etc. So depending on what your setup is, may vary. So to do the job, you don't need too much. Basic sockets, a scraper, screwdriver, obviously the thermostat. I'd advise grabbing a gasket and yeah, let's get into it. You don't need to drain your coolant. You will lose a little bit that's in the top section here. So now just remove your hoses, top hose. And again, you don't have to do this one either, but it just helps to get it out the way. And if you've got the bleeder line on, pop that out the way. With those hoses out the way, remove the 3 bolts that hold the thermostat housing top section on, and just take caution because these bolts can give you some headaches, possibly snap, corroded, or strips the thread. So these have been replaced, so it should be pretty easy to pull off. Once you have that housing out the way, remove the old gasket. Now it won't come off this easy, but if it does, you're in luck. Just use your scraper and clean off that surface area and go from there. With both surfaces cleaned up, you may have to use some sandpaper or some Scotch-Brite. Reinstall your new upgraded thermostat. Now the gasket, I found this one here, has got a sticky side to it. So just be aware, make sure your gasket hasn't got that, because that could be, could upset you. I'm going to put the sticky side onto the upper thermostat housing, like that. Make sure we get the bolt holes lined up-ish. I apply a bit of Never-Seez to the bolts, just helps with the next time of pulling the engine apart. Put it all back together. Tighten up the bolts. Now they don't hold the engine together, so they're just got to be nipped up. There is a torque for it, which I think's around the 40 Newton meters, but I'll double check and throw it up for you. But just firm. That should be sufficient. Put our hoses back on. Dirty thumbs up. It's pretty much job done. Coolant in it, I'll run it up and just check for leaks. Put the cap back on. So this is the experience that I've had from these thermostats. I reckon they're a good thing. If there's any other tips you can give others, throw it in the comments. I'm hoping this helps you guys out with if you are changing out your thermostat or looking at upgrading it. Otherwise, I think that's about it. Take it easy. See everyone looking at you.